Who is ready to make an original Slush Wave track? Let's go. Right. Let's start with... Okay, let's start with an electric piano. This is one I call electric piano for Slush, funny enough. So, first of all... Well, I'm going to go over to my keyboard now. And first of all, I just try and find some sort of good chord sequence, really. So, I could do some sevenths or something, something jazzy if you want something like that. I mean, what can we do? So yeah, I think we'll go with that. That's pretty good. So this is how I do it. I just sort of it's really good to learn harmony and chord progressions, because if you want to sort of do 80s stuff, you can't just... I mean, you can use simple chords in some context, but in the more sort of jazziness that really is really brought out in Slush, like the harmonics and stuff, is mainly done with major 7. So the first chord is just a major 7 plus 9, which is this, and then the 9. But now I've just got the chord at the top, so it's that. And then the same thing, but just a minor 7. So you've got first chord, third, and then... And then always resolve it. Right, okay. So... Right. So that's it. That's all you need. It's just those chords there. There we go. That's what you should see. I was doing this. Right. So you can see the chord sequence here. So you can see, because if you draw it in, you kind of have this blockiness to it, and especially if you see here, this because I didn't play it quite on the beat. See how it's all sort of before the line where the 3 is. So I can push that back to make it a bit more in time, but at the same time I kind of want these little gaps here, because they make a nice. Again, it just has a human quality, and especially in Slush Wave, when you slow something down and you can hear the sort of rather than just duh, it adds a lot of texture. It adds more than you would think. So like I might push this back a bit because that was quite early. Or I might even quantize these, just because they're single notes. And see, single notes you can get away with. Just because, chords you can really tell with a block, but with a single note, not so much. Now I'm going to take it just from the end there, here. Not right on the bar, just so that at the beginning of the bar we get that nice ripple effect that we had. And then take away the metronome. So yeah, we have a nice, very nice chord sequence already. There's, quite a few ways you go about this next part. You could either add bass, or you could add some percussion, but I like to add a melodic line, a melody line, just because then the bass and the melody have to work together, basically. Like in a way, you kind of have to solo them. You have to listen to them individually, and they have to work together. Because they're two really key parts. Yes, the chords are very important for actually identifying what chord is being played, but the melody is what you hear, and the bass is what reinforces it. So they have to work together. So this is a sample bass. So let's get rid of the reverb. You can hear. So that sounds really good. It just sounds like a great bass. So, especially in slush wave, in my music particularly, the bass is brought up a lot. So I really do like having a bass line that moves. So this is probably going to be quite bad. Normally the bass does take me a few takes, so let's see. I mean, that's alright, isn't it? So, bass, I would quantize. Always quantize bass. Not necessarily... I mean, because here, you want that on the... You want this. Swing that down a bit. You especially want these notes at the beginning to be quantized because you want that on the beat. You don't want that to flail ahead or behind, just because when you slow things down, timing differences pop out so much. And if you have a kick drum, which is going to be quantized heavily, and the bass separately, it'll do like ba-doom rather than boom. It'll be ba-doom or doom-boom, and it just that must have sounded so stupid. But you can kind of see what I'm trying to get at. That at this speed it may sound okay, but when you slow it down later, it's gonna sound as Days of Blue just said, padom, padoom, yeah. But I'm not gonna quantize these two notes at the start of everything, because that little blurder is what creates the sort of mini slide that this lovely instrument VST has. I'm just going to extend that note there because I played that very briefly. So I'm going to add the melody line. Now for the melody I'm going to move over to my Yamaha keyboard. The sounds that are actually on here. This keyboard from about 10 years ago, they added a really nice one. Which does sound very J-poppy, doesn't it? But I just love that sound. I use this so much. If you do listen to a lot of my music, you've probably heard that synth quite a lot in there. But this does make a good melody line, or even if we dual it with another. I mean, that's a very nice one as well. Normally, I do like to dual. This one's called Brightness, and if I dual this with the Sweet Heaven, because you get that attack from the bell, and then you get the sort of the release is the Sweet Heaven preset, so you get just this lovely sound. Anyway, now this is the part where I just improv melodies. But basically, what I'm just doing is I'm thinking of the chord sequence that I've just played, and I'm sort of in my mind I have notes for each chord. If you just think about the notes that are in the chords that you've played, and when you're writing the melody line, if you play notes within that chord, it's going to sound good. it's when people start playing notes that are outside the chord that it kind of sounds a bit weird or doesn't sound quite as authentic, if you like. Yeah, making a melody is definitely one of the hardest parts because it can quickly start to sound like something else, something that's already been made. I mean, so many times I listen to a lot of the 80s Chinese and Japanese music, and when I play something, I was like, I literally just played that song I listened to yesterday. So when people ask me what kind of rituals do I have, you're kind of saying that I don't really have anything. I just have fun with it, and that's why it's so fun. Because it's just whatever comes in the moment. That sounds quite nice. I think something along those lines. It's just I don't really care about the sound at this stage because you lose a lot of, if you try and perfect it at this stage, you lose a lot of it in Slush anyway, and it's almost pointless to try and refine the original one so much, just because it's going to get so messed up in Slush, in a good way obviously, but just messed up. It won't sound well produced. If you make a badly produced Slush track, you can hide it in Slush way, which is what I do most of the time. It does take a few takes. On average, it takes me like 4 or 5 takes to do anything really. I mean, to like for the I think therefore I am the second track, and that sort of synth where it goes dun 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 dun. That line I didn't have that line until about the 15th take, and that's true because the chord and the melody line were from the same instrument, so I was trying to play some sort of like chord melody thing at the same time, and like 15 tries it was just like, oh, that was bad, and then I did another one, it's like, oh, that's bad as well. So don't just think that you can go straight in and do it first time, because you can't, and I can't. And don't be alarmed if it takes you a few days to come up with something. I've had projects sitting around for weeks before I come back to it and think, oh yeah, I actually find a good melody now. Anyway, let's record it. Anyway, that last one was just kind of bollocks. So now, I'm going to cut it there. I'm just going to repeat this. Again, I don't want it too high in the mix. Oh shit, yeah. Don't have it cut off there like that as well. Again, that fades kind of sounds a bit weird. That's the best I can do. But again, you don't need to spend hours on this because no one's going to hear this. I say that with 47 people listening. But no one, if you slush it and release it slush, no one's going to hear that edit, because if you mask it well, it'll be fine. Sometimes here I might choose to quantize the audio if it's a little out of time, but I seem to have done it okay here, which is funny. Right, now it's time for some percussion. So, there's two ways I do percussion. Sometimes I make it myself, and sometimes I use the presets on here, on the Yamaha, the same Yamaha that I'm using. If you are curious, it is a portable Grand DGX 630. That's what I'm using right now. I think it's about 12 years old. I say it's nothing special. It's like the keyboard I use all the time. But in terms of like legendary synths, it is nothing special. But just the sound set that it has on it, it's really good. So, right. So if I listen. That's quite a nice sound. That is also quite a common used sound in sort of this style of music, that sort of shaker thing. There. Single hit. What I really should do is just put these into a sampler, shouldn't I? And then I could MIDI control it, but I'm a lazy bugger. So you see, that sounds, is that cut correctly? Yes. That sounds a bit more robotic, but it does sound quite nice. Problem is then I don't get those accented ones that I liked. But have that kind of low in the mix, you don't want that to. Yeah, it was. So you can hear it's the rhythm. Again, don't worry about the synth being out of time. It doesn't matter. It's human. It's 80s. Got to find a good snare now. That is a nice soft one. That's very low actually right now. That's good. I will make that higher in the mix. Right, let's get that recorded because that's a lovely snare sound. It's a rim shot sound actually. That was pretty bad, so I do need to quantize that, but you can quantize this easier because they're single hits rather than the hi-hats, which are, well, they're not really hi-hats. I mean, it's like a shaker sound. So if we quantize that, we'll choose the rhythmic setting. There we are. Just going to make sure it's quantized in the right place. I'm going to move that back because that is a little bit jarring. Same here. See, it needs to be on that 9.3 there, but it's quite far ahead. So I'm just going to push that back. Not quantize it, just push it back. Now, at this point, when making this stuff, you have to check that it'll work slowed down, because you don't want to go hours into a project and then you come to slow it down and it's like, oh my god, this sounds terrible. So what I do now, I'm gonna bounce it down as it is, just a rough copy. I'll call it stream. I don't think you can see the pop-up, but that's fine because I don't want you to see all my files and my upcoming projects and everything. Now I'm just going to open, this is an app called DJ Pro. It is literally a DJ app, but I just love the the flexibility you can do here with pitch bending, and you can do it really well in real time. Yeah, so I think there is a good place to have it. About 112. So slow it down from well, it says 142. That's not right. It's 70 down to what would it be like 50 something. Now, right, I think I'm going to copy that over because that's quite nice. Right, now I need some chords. So the intro, lots of funky, sparkly chords, but for this now, you just kind of want light, simple chords because there's going to be stuff happening over it, like vocals and things like that. So if I was just playing. Maybe we could go there. And it's quite different from the verse because it's more. I do quite like that. Let's try again. I'll have that nice chord from the original melody because that works nicely with that. Just have that fading out. I'm going to bring in a kick. That is weird. Is it still doing it? Oh no, it seems to be alright now. Just the audio file's a bit weird. Yeah, that's better. There we go. This is the part where you can add. That sounded good. I even have a quite nice soprano sax thing on here, on the piano. Really good. This sounds quite nice, considering this is completely MIDI. So if I was coming here. Do you think that would work? That sounds quite nice actually, doesn't it? Something like that. I'm just going to go straight in with some improv and see how that turns out, and obviously we can do a few takes of this. That's why the little pitch bend at the end there. So I think that section sounds good without any bass. But then what I'm going to do is repeat this. Have I done that right? I have. And then I'm going to record some vocals. Right. I'm sorry you had to hear that. So what I'm doing right now is I've just got the pitch correction window open, and I'm just making sure that the keys are right. I get rid of the B there, so I'm just gonna go in here, use B, but I'm not going to use it in this bit. Yeah, that's better. That's not so dreadful. Right, that's something decent, I think, somewhere. Right, so this is what I'm going to use now to create the slush wave. So I'm going to export it. You can hear what I mean about the humanness. You can hear a lot of the sort of when it's not been quantized. But I say when you put it in, this is so raw that you will hear the stuff. When you put it in Slush Effects, it's not. Absolutely, singular step. Yes, it could be slower, but this is just what I like. I don't tend to make super slow slush. I mean, especially with my last album, it was quite lively and energetic. But yeah, I don't like it to be too slow and too deep. Like I do like to have some of the harmonics still there. And then I'm going to add my slush effects. So I've said before that it works in layers. So I have the phaser as the first layer because I want everything that I put after that to be affected by the phaser in some way. So it's nice that the phaser is the first layer. I then have a first reverb layer, which is kind of it's bringing out higher reverb harmonics and not much low end at all. So it's a very tinny like reverb. Then I bring in the EQ where I bring up the bass. So that's why I have that reverb first, because I don't want a lot of that boomy reverb bass. So I bring up the bass and the EQ and I dim down the high frequencies from about 15k up, just because that's the sound I like. I don't like it to be too bright. Then I have my main reverb unit. This like the plugin that I've got underneath the EQ is my golden, my ticket to fame, I guess. But it is basically just a very fancy reverb VST. And then I have a compressor. So I'll put that in, and I haven't tweaked it yet, But this is what it sounds like now. So that sounds really good. So I'm going to add a delay because I do love lots of delay, and I'm going to put the delay right before the phaser. So the delay is now the first thing in the chain of plugins there. And I'm just going to sort of make an interesting delay here. So at the moment I'm just trying to create a nice delay. Hear the delay because you can hear, especially in the snare, you can hear that. And you hear, just feel that kick. I'm just tweaking some EQ stuff because there's quite a few peaks. There's my voice. Now I can actually hide the VST thing now and just show you the sort of looping process. So this is Vapor Effect 2. This is the one that I use mostly. I have 4 others, and they're just sort of presets that I've made. So I've got the project set to the tempo of what I slushed it down to, which is 114. This is slowed down to 57 basically from 70. And I can cut it right where it comes in, which is here. And then if I line that up with a beat, then literally all I have to do to loop it is then find the fourth beat here. Or is it here? So that sequence, da da da. Then this comes in there, I can cut that there, reuse that. There it is. Add a little fade. There it is. So I've now just looped that section. See that sounds pretty flawless, and that's an edit. And that's why having the project, the BPM that you slow it down to, is really useful. Now I like to have a nice lead in, so we'll have a a sort of slow. There you go. I'm a bit weird. Normally people do things in sets of 4. I normally do them in sets of 3. I have no idea why, but I just do. If you pay attention to some of my sample-free slush stuff, you'll notice that it's in 3-bar sections, a lot of it. So it's. I mean, you just do whatever you want, really. So that's another nice edit. vocals here. So obviously, if I was doing this for an album, I would probably do the vocal takes a lot over and over again and then harmonise it. But I just want to do it here as like a summary of what to do, because watching me sing the same thing over and over again would be really boring. And this really isn't about perfecting it. This is just about, you know, the absolute basics. Let's repeat the vocal section a few more times. That's actually with the section. Oops. Right, so it's from there. Now you can have the nice fade out. So there you have it. This track is now ready to be mastered and exported, and I don't do much mastering, and certainly nowhere near professional level. I just normally limit it to a reasonable level. I have a quite nice limiter, and I just literally boost that up. So that's really not interesting, or, you know, my mastering is not the place to go if you want to learn how to master a slush track well. I mean, I just know how to bring it up to a good level, and it works okay. But there you have it. That was very rough and very basic and very you know, you can take your time with it. Obviously, I was trying to rush it within one sort of stream, trying not to be too long and too boring, but that's the essentials really. And play around with it, and, you know, just go absolutely crazy. You know, you can do anything. Remember, you're not limited to a sample anymore. Crazy vocals at the end. There it is. So that is that one. So that is literally comprised of the beat. So that's a very sort of like almost 808 state beat. And then we have this electric piano. What's this? So that's just like a little synth. Da da da. And then this is the bass. This is the sax, I think. Oh no, that's just like another synth. You see, there's quite a lot of layers. There's the guitar. So like there, I could spend more time on the one I just did and add harmonies like this. But obviously, that would take a long time because doing that for me takes a while. So you know that'd be boring for you. So this is the second track from the album. There it is. That is the second track off the album. So if you look at the elements of this, I mean, you got the sparkly synth. Very simple. The loop. The bass. The pad, and then this guitar, and then just another synth, and this has got a lot of reverb on it. And my voice, obviously. So I mean, if you look at it like this, this is only 14 tracks here, each with a kind of simple thing. You know, one's a beat, one's the bass, one's just pads, one's vocals. I mean, this is not much, and you don't need much. I remember one person thinking that I made a whole 14-minute song and then slushed it without edits, but no. I mean, this here is, if you look at the top 152, and that made like a 12-minute track. So if you know my Forgive and Forget album, my first ever sample-free Slush album, the 25-minute track was like a 2-minute sample, and the last track, the 37-minute track, that was like 2 minutes as well. It's just the way that you can add slush, the way you slush it is the way you bring it to life, really. you.